Hello everyone, this is Hans again with part 50 of a video series I'm making on creating a multiplayer, online, real-time 3D space shooter game from scratch. There are a couple of small things I'd like to cover, or rather show you, because I've been doing stuff actually while, well, outside a video, and before I forget to mention them, I actually want to show them to you. I did so because I actually was testing things, and when I was able to implement it, I actually decided not to undo my changes just for the sake of showing that in a video again. It's not so much of programming, but more like of a decision of a deployment I wanted to make. Anyway, before I forget the details, let's just go ahead and I'll show you what I did. The first change I actually did here with our player prefab and our other player prefab and player prefab, I changed the shaders from these normal bump diffuse into self-illuminating bump diffuse, because it kind of gets like this nice shiny color here. Okay, there must be some user logged in with that name. I'm having a browser running in the background. Anyway, you can see here that we actually have a nicer, a clashier color, I'd say, right? So it looks more like a comic style spaceship than the one we had before. The same goes true with our other player. Let me just check if I can find here a web player here. Let me just run this. There we go, and the yellow is also a little shinier of the other player, right? So that is one of the small changes I actually did outside the video. I changed the shader from the normal bump diffuse to self-illuminating because it, well, in my opinion, more this comic-like effect. And another thing is something I actually wanted to show you, or actually tell you, that I kind of made up my mind on how to deploy our web player. We had several options there, right? We had the option of either like deploying our, which we did in the past, web browser or web player here in this web plugin folder and calling it then from our web page. But then remember that we also wanted that game to be available like on Facebook, for example. So, and I kind of like made some research and found out that Facebook actually requires a secure connection, an HTTPS connection, which we could have actually implemented in our browser. But to get valid certificate, I would have had to like buy one, or create a self-signed one, which would have cost again a lot of warning and messages for the other player. So I kind of like decided to look for someone who offers space for our web client. And I so happened to stumble over like Parse. Let me just go to Parse. Is very cool in the sense that they offer free web hosting, and there is much more they actually offering for someone who is implementing or developing a game. They do a lot of hosting. You can even like use them as a web client maybe later on if we port our game to mobile devices. They are offering like object saving. You can, this is similar to what we're doing with our SmartFox multiplayer server, which I actually tried. So there are many things we can do with Parse, and they are free, at least up to a certain limit here. Here free, you can read a little of what is covered here. At least you have like 1 million requests free, and I think one gigabyte of web space that you can use. So I found it really cool. So I actually went ahead and registered, and once you register, they will ask you to like create an app here. If not, you can do that. And the only thing that is interesting as for now, in the future more, but for now, it is using parse as a space where we can host our web browser, right? So if you go to the quick start button here, once you log in and created your app, and click on hosting, and depending on what machine you are using, right, just click it and follow these instructions here that will show you how you can actually upload our Unity web player into the cloud. So the first thing you will need to do is actually like download this parse command line tool I have here, which I actually did already. Let me just show that to you. It's here. These are these two files here. And then the next thing you actually need to do is like run that parse command line tool. Sometimes it's somehow buggy. It's not really working or opening, but it's actually quite easy to like open it. Here it's open already. When you just hit for Windows machine this Windows R, where you have your execution window, type in parse and run. Then you will have it open here. So all you need to do is actually enter parse new and then the name of the cloud, or the folder name. In my case it was like this folder here I created or named. I said these are the parse Morguni files, right? So I actually said parse new Morguni, how did you call it again? Morguni, parse Morguni files. Parse new parse Morguni files. Then I had to enter my login details to our parse site here. And then of course it recognized how many apps I already had. In my case it was just Morguni, which was the name of the app I selected. And then you select it. What will happen is actually, just read over this, the command line tool is going to create 3 folders for you. The next thing you will need to do is actually copy the parse command line tools into that folder that was created here. Just copy them in and then open parse and actually change directory to this folder. I found a trick already. If you just copy the folder address here already and in the parse command line to make a change directory and a right click. No, it didn't do it. Let me just copy and right click, it automatically pastes in the address of the folder, and hit enter. You will see that we are actually inside our parse Morguni files. And then the next step we can actually do is make a parse deploy. And right now you can see that once you have actually created an app and deployed your files into the cloud, you can access them by entering https://morguni.parseapp.com and then of course the folder. Anyway, this is what is being uploaded right now. This is the app, the URL where the files will be uploaded. And then of course what I did next is I went into this public folder here. This is the one actually interesting for us. This is the one available here, which is like this one here, right? You can go inside there and I have here index file. If I open it with Notepad++ here, you can see that I have a small HTML page up and running there, which is like basically a small welcome message, and this one is being accessed through this address here. And notice the cool thing about this is that you have automatically a secure connection already, a HTTPS, which is later on required by our Facebook app, right? So also notice that I have already created a web plugin folder here and an images folder where I just put the logo, and in the web plugin folder is actually the web browser deploy of our Unity game. So I went into our Unity game here and went to File and said not build and run, but build setting here. For now we are just building our 001 scene, and everything is as it was, but I'm going to click on build, where you will be given the option to change the standard folder where the build will be saved. So in my case, I went into our parse Morguni file, into the public, selected the web plugin, and said build. So now our most updated web build is actually inside our parse Morguni file. The next thing we could actually do is, once we navigated there, we could say parse deploy and hit enter. Okay, while this one is still deciding what to do, we could talk a little more about what I did on. So exactly this. So every time we actually deploy our game, it will be saved into the public folder web plugin, which will make it accessible to us using this one. So right. So this is our main index file, where we're accessing our index.html page, the one I showed just a while ago. If I enter slash and web plugin, where our deploy is going to be, we are going to have an error message because we just entered a web plugin folder without an index file, which is very cool. So they seem to be really working on their security. But we could open the web plugin.html, which is also being deployed, right? This is this file here into our parse Morguni files public folder. So right, so let's just open that, and there you will see our game. You will see when I was testing it, we don't have the most recent build actually uploaded there. Our player has no canopy as of yet. So this is not doing anything. Uploading source file. Okay, something is happening. That is always good. So what is actually happening now, who will structure here, these three folders are being uploaded to our parse account, and the folder called public is the one being accessible from this address here. So anyway, while this is still uploading, I also went ahead and logged into my Facebook account. I went to the thisearldevelopers.facebook.com. I went to this apps here and made actually create new app, and then you will have a new app created. Then I think the most important settings that you could quickly go over is the app details here. When you can click it, you'll can enter basic descriptions, taggings, short descriptions, categories and subcategories of your app. And the only thing I actually added here is a small icon for now, and the rest was not really necessary. And another important thing is to just have an empty app. If you go to the settings, you will have your app ID and app secret, and the display name, the namespace of course, which will be the name of your game on your Facebook app. And if you scroll down, you can add the platform here, which is, in my case, I added already an app on Facebook and website platform. That is why these areas are grayed out. So I'm going to cancel that, and this is actually this one here. This is the website platform, and this is the app on Facebook platform. So once you create one, it will tell you where your app will be available. This is the URL of your new app. And then of course, since we want the Unity integration, I checked this one to be showing yes. And once you did so, it will ask you to give the URL of the binary Unity game, which is basically the URL of, let me just go to public web plugin of this folder here, right? So, which I did as well. So we have our https://morguni.parseUp.com, of course /web plugin, because that's how we call the folder, and then the web plugin.unity 3D. So what will actually happen is it will get this from our parse site and embed it into the Facebook app. Then I made a couple of changes here, like the loading background color and the loading text color, so that it is consistent with our game theme. Also, remember that in our parse cloud folders, I also added an image here, our logo, the one that is in our web client. Just copied it in there and provided the URL for that as well here on our logo image space. And I think the rest I simply left as it was, and that's it I actually did. There's really nothing going on. So we could actually go to like apps.facebook and then Morguni, see if this is actually working, and it seems to work. It's loading here right now. Okay, this is also still the old version that is being shown on our parse. I wonder why this is still not done uploading for whatever reason. Finished uploading files, it says. New release is named. Alright, okay, it seems to be done. So I guess it just takes a while for this to update. Let's just open this. Okay, it's still not showing the updated version. Sometimes it takes a while. To begin, I actually thought there was some bug, but it takes a while for our updated file to actually be shown. So this is actually very cool. We have our basic game on the Facebook app right now. It's actually playable. At least you can play with it whatever we program into it as of yet. Actually, we just can look around, like turn a little, right, and fly ahead, but we can't really see anything yet. Nothing really going on yet. And our player here on Facebook is any player here on this Facebook app is not being recognized anyway. There is still no login option for guests or our web page or a Facebook user. This is still all missing here, but at least we are getting our integration well ahead. And since we have now a centralized place for our Unity game, we could